So that there is where I was just working. That's my tripod. And yeah, I don't think it really needs to be pointed out at this stage, but step one of one of the biggest projects I've ever taken on has not really gone according to plan.
Hey, it's the end of the world now. Haven't you heard? So smoke 'em if you got 'em. Boys and girls, say goodbye to the past now. Raise up your glass and revel while it lasts. It's the end of the world.
Well, cheers, I guess. And end of the world or not, nothing is getting in the way of me finally starting this shed project. I have been planning this for 2 years and I'm definitely a little bit daunted, but I'm gonna break it down into steps. And the first one starts very, very soon because I only have this afternoon to move this whole shipping container because it's right in the way of my new shed site. Now, some of you might be thinking, didn't I only just move this container a few months ago? And yeah, I did. At the time, I put it on the shed site because it was flat and also because I kind of thought, hey, if I have to move it, the good news is it means the shed's finally been approved. Now, I have found a solution that means that I can potentially move it by myself and not have to empty everything, but I do think I'm gonna quickly empty out anything that's likely to fall over or get damaged. Okay, fragile tippy stuff, you're coming with me.
Don't shower me with flattery. I ain't got no time for pleasantries. Give me the truth and set me free.
I didn't empty too much out of the shipping container because I'm going to go with the Can Cat Lift It game. You'll remember that one. And one of the best things is because my excavator has now been repaired, my quick hitch is working again. What that means is that I can change attachments all from inside the cab. Because this has hydraulics, I will have to get out for that, but I'll show you what I mean. Press of a button. And just like that, it is already disconnected. I'll just disconnect these hydraulic lines. And now we'll grab this bucket because it's going to be much easier for lifting the sides of the actual shipping container itself. I have missed that ability because it really means you then choose the appropriate bucket for what you're doing rather than I was using the tilt bucket for all the wrong things because it was just too hard to change. It was taking me 45 minutes to change. That took me probably 45 seconds. Now, time to learn a new skill. 1, 2. We're gonna see whether we can roll this shipping container on these wheels and just tow it down there. Let's have this ready to roll. That wasn't deliberate. All right, Cat, you're up. This technique is not for the faint-hearted. Oh, yes, thank God. This is not looking promising. Okay, attempt number 2. We're starting to lose daylight, which isn't great. I actually hired these wheels and I can only have them till tonight at 6 o'clock. Running out of time. This is what laziness costs you. I should have just emptied the container from the start. Now I've damaged the container and I still haven't moved the bloody thing. Don't cut corners, kids. I've really screwed up here in that I've let it get momentum going down the hill whilst it's side onto the excavator. What I really wanted to do was be either behind it or in front of it so I could use the guard to guide it down. But now I'm side on, I'm struggling to get back in front of it. And I'm not quite sure what to do. Well, it's dark. The container is certainly not where it needs to be. And I have to return those wheels by 8 AM. So I'm gonna be back on it at 6 AM. I will not be defeated, end of the world or not. What a way to start the day, huh? Not quite the start I wanted to the video. This is where it's got to stay. It's almost 7 AM and I need to get these wheels back. My neighbour down the road has more heavy machinery than I do. At least we're off the shed site now and I'm gonna ask him to help me drag it over because we're not too far away. Okay, obviously not the most successful start to clearing the shed site, but at least the rain's holding off and setbacks are inevitably going to happen. We will get that shipping container to its final destination. But first, we have a crime to investigate. You can see here the beautiful edging Simon and I installed, and look at the end. It has been completely ran over and they are tyre tracks. Now, if you watch my last video, I installed an epic security camera system, and I'm pleased to report that I think they will help us give a guilty verdict. However, everyone deserves a fair trial. So first, let's see if it caught the offender in action. And look, I know what you might be thinking, because even though it is pretty clear that was Grace's car doing the driving, was she actually the one driving the car? Roll evidence B. That's right, folks. A hit and run by one of our own. Never would have guessed it and never would have caught it without the cameras. So they're already doing their job. Grace, how do you plead? I think it would be a fair assessment to say that it's turned into a bit of a disaster inside this lean-to here. And it's very easy for this to feel overwhelming. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break up the tasks into different sections to try and make it a little bit more manageable. I'm gonna start with moving the firewood because I actually know where that's going. As I go through it all, I'm also starting a tip pile over there. That's stuff that's going to be going to the dump. And then finally, there's a lot of wood in here that I plan on salvaging, and that includes from the structure itself. As a lot of you know, I like to reuse materials in my projects, and there's plenty of good wood here. So it's going to be about storing that well. And when the shed is actually up and finally ready to use, there is going to be wood storage in there to keep my wood not only nice and straight, but also dry. But first, we've got to put in the hard yards. Please, I hope if you haven't already, put your feet up, have a coffee, and just enjoy me doing the grunt work once again. I'm taking bets on which creature I'm most likely to come across first in here. The main suspects would be snake, bush rat, or cane toad. Place your bets. First person gets it right gets a prize. My guess, bush rat. We were southern souls on the western road as the valleys climbed into mountains tall. Nothing so far. I had a lot more firewood than I realised. This is certainly going to get us through this winter that's coming. We can tell here the days are already starting to shorten, so it's a good time to get the firewood ready. Kindling, small stuff, biggest usable, and then over in this corner is stuff that still needs to be chopped up. That's going over in the wood pile. And no creatures so far, surprisingly. Very surprising. But this lean-to is far from cleared, so be patient. May not look like it, but that's about half of it gone. Nice little stack here. Couple of stacks there. A lot of kindling there. And looks like we have some bananas ready to roll. You'll do, thank you. Yummo. Ladyfinger bananas are the best. Now where am I going to put the rest? That's the last of the firewood. So Luke, my neighbour down the road, has a 6-ton excavator, which I'm super jealous of, but let's see how easy it does it. Luke does earth moving for a business, and you can kind of tell. That is a good lesson on asking for help, because that was just so much easier. Luke, you're a legend, and now I've got a bit of a mess to clean up. Hopefully no damage. Oh boy, good night. So this wasn't supposed to go here, but I feel like it needs to be said, so I'm going to change some things around a bit, and just a suicide trigger warning for anyone watching, because I know for you guys this will come out of the blue. But yesterday afternoon, when I was in the middle of stacking the firewood, I received some devastating news that a former paramedic colleague of mine took his own life last week, and the news just not only rocked me at the time, I just feel devastated and angry at the state of the world, and I just feel like we're failing people, and too many people lose their lives to suicide, and it just needs to stop. But do me a favor, please. Please. If you are someone that is struggling, please talk to someone. I just cannot say this enough on this channel. Please tell someone, seek help. People care about you, you are important, and you will definitely be missed, so yeah. Phil was my fourth paramedic colleague that has taken his own life. He was not just a respected, long-serving paramedic, he was a father, he was a friend, and my heart aches for all those closest to him. We live in a beautiful world, and I am lucky enough to be reminded of that every day here on the property, but there's no denying it's a challenging time for many. I've talked to you about my struggles with PTSD following my 7 years as a paramedic. The unfortunate fact is frontline workers are often just exposed to so many traumatic events that no one should ever see, and some of them do stick with you. PTSD and moving through grief have been two of the main focuses that I've worked through with my therapist over the years. She's helped me reframe my thoughts around traumatic memories and change negative beliefs. She's also taught me techniques to help me feel more grounded and relaxed when bad memories are triggered. And like I said, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of talking to someone when you are struggling. I see my therapist through BetterHelp, and I think it's really important that they're the paid partner of this video. So thank you, BetterHelp, for being the paid partner. Getting started with BetterHelp is super easy. You simply fill out a short, thoughtful questionnaire where you can share your goals, preferences, and what you're looking for. BetterHelp then uses those insights along with years of matching experience to connect you with a credentialed therapist who fits your needs. Please, please, please do not bottle things up. Please talk to someone. You can click the link in my description below or head to betterhelp.com/Max Occy and you will get 10% off your first month of therapy. Please look after yourself out there, guys. You are worth it. And right now, I'm going to jump into a quick last-minute session, but I will see you back out there ready for more action. Whew. And speaking of things that make me feel a lot better, it is a huge relief to finally have that shipping container and all its contents where they need to be, safe and dry. I am turning my sights back to the lean-to again today, but now that the wood pile is cleared up, I'm gonna start with organizing all of the timber. And as you can probably tell, I'm not just kind of emptying it haphazard. I really want everything to have a space where it's gonna be fine and out of the way for a long time rather than just having to move it again and again. Trying to be smarter this time. But before we get into that, to break it up a little bit, let's talk about the shed layout because I'm very excited about it. It's actually crazy how far I have to push you all back to be able to get all of this in shot. That's how long this shed's gonna be. It is gonna start here and work its way back, long ways this direction. It is gonna carry on for 17 meters, which, to give you scale, is pretty much all the way to here. In between those 17 meters, there is going to be 4 bays. This first bay on this end is external. It's going to be an open carport bay where I can access into the internal. The next bay is going to be internally framed, and that is going to be my workshop. It's where all my tools are going to finally have a permanent home. and it's really going to be able to level up all my woodwork and craftsmanship. Now, the middle internal bay is going to be a taller roller door, also facing this way. It is taller so the van can fit in here and finally be protected from the elements. Final garage bay is the front one. That is what's going to house Rocky, my ute. It's also going to have surfboards, adventure gear inside here. But that's not all. The shed is also 11 meters deep, meaning it's going to run to 2 meters from the tree line all the way up to about here. And what that's going to allow is behind the cars and the van, I'm going to have space to store the excavator, timber storage, and just more storage of stuff that would normally go in the house. I've already talked about how much dry storage is an absolute premium here in the rainforest where it rains so much. So I think you can tell why I'm so damn excited. It is time to do some timber sorting, and the difference between this timber and the firewood that you saw before is that all of this I'm now sorting is stuff that I want to be able to use in future projects. So you want to keep it nice and flat so it stays straight, especially with the humidity out here. Things can bow if you don't keep them in good condition. Time to lock in.
I gotta get to you.
I just found a pair of my Speedos. Yuck. Why are they in here? For anyone that is still thinking, hey, can't we save this old shed slash lean-to? Have a look at the roof right now. This is leaking all the way through. Look at that. We head in here. I don't know how many of my good possessions I'd be trussing under here, but if you think that's not enough, wait till you see this. So this beam here, Gentle, is one of the main beams holding up this lean-to structure, and you might think, that's not too bad, but I just realized I didn't really straighten you guys up. That's level now. Let's zoom out a bit, have a look up at the roof. To give you an idea, that is plumb. Before this does all come down, there is some things I want to salvage off it. This cladding, for example, which looks like it's going to come off pretty easy for the most part, is the same exterior cladding that I have on the cabin. And because there's repairs I need to do to it, but also because I want to do extensions, I really want to save this cladding because it's going to be very hard to match again. Now let's just hope this doesn't come down on me as I start to pull it apart. Oh. Wow, I just had a bit of a freak accident. I was hammering this perspex off the timber and there was this can of Mortine bug spray on the ground. The perspex somehow is eaten straight in the can and the can just fully exploded in my face. I'm gonna go have a shower and fully rinse that off because my face is kind of tingling a bit. I'm just reading on the can and it says, deliberately sniffing or inhaling concentrated spray can be harmful or fatal. I'm out for a little bit, guys. Well, good news is I'm okay. I knew pulling down this lean-to was going to be a bit of a battle, but I did not have chemical warfare on my 2026 bingo card. That was so unlucky, but at least finally I'm flea free. That definitely killed all those buggers. I took the rest of the night off because all my exposed skin that it got was really irritated. But it's all calmed down now. Feel fine, ready to get back into it. It is currently not raining, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to try and clear out the rest of this kind of stuff here. My aim by the end of today is to have this whole thing cleared out, a tip pile ready to go, and the shed pulled down. I am done with this. I'm also almost out of time because there is rain forecast for the next 5 days straight. So if we can get to that point, I'm gonna be very happy. Now I bought this 60 litres of diesel 3 weeks ago to have ready for the excavator. And I feel like the way it's going, this could be my retirement plan right here. Going to the highest bidder. And if nothing else, this has been a really good chance for me to do a big clean out This is going to be a big tip run and start fresh with the new shed. Oh yeah, lots of spiders, but still no snakes, no rats. We are at long last up to the final boss. Supervisor Leo is here. I think partly because he thinks this may be where we find the creatures hanging out. If you were around back when I first did a property tour here over 2.5 years ago, well, you'll know that this room scared me back then because I wasn't sure what I was going to find in there, and yeah, that hasn't changed. Solar panel, bathroom sink, old kitchen, my old journal. Just a lizard. Just a lizard. Sorry, lizard. Do you ever get the feeling you're tackling a job that is never actually going to end? Ugh. I feel like I'm in one right now. Thank you for being my emotional support. You'd almost call it an endless war right now. And everyone should rightfully hate endless wars. Or any wars for that matter. Now, before anyone berates me in the comments, let me berate myself. I never should have left the attachments in a situation like this. They were covered by a tarp, but they're going to be stored much better from here on out. I mean, I don't know what gave it away, but I guess the heavy rain has come early. Now, I need a bit of surgical precision here because I need to remove both of these with Cat, because I don't trust that this structure isn't going to fall down once I start removing the cladding. I think even the cladding is helping it stand upright at the moment, because look at this. This isn't the same post I showed you earlier. These are even worse. I'm standing straight here. They are so on the piss. This structure actually wants to come down right now. I actually think it's doing a harder job keeping this thing up than tearing it down. I feel like I could probably push it over by the end. But in saying that, if it can stay up just that little bit longer for now, that would be lovely. That's one safely out. Great success. I think final teardown's happening tomorrow. I'm defeated for today. See you in the morning. Every day I come out here expecting this to have just fallen over. Today I would have been pretty happy if it had. It's happening today. I'm stripping this cladding and then it's coming down. Hopefully not on. So it didn't quite hold up. It just collapsed. And luckily, my camera just escaped it. Unfortunately, my tripod did not. That's why you have insurance. That kind of happened out of nowhere. I wasn't even touching the structure itself, it just went. So demolition plan, check. I can't believe that just happened. It collapsed on me.
Did it? Oh no, that's why I was coming out, but then I saw you.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for not actually coming over.
Yeah, no, I was underneath it and it just went. The main thing I'm kind of pissed off about is I feel like I've done so much work to get to this point that I'm a bit annoyed I didn't get to be the one that pushed it over. Look at how it's ripped the foundations out. Now, obviously I've got to be pretty careful around the structure because it's even more unstable now, but I did have a hard hat that I was planning on wearing for the actual demolition part of this, which has come a bit sooner than planned. Ironically, or unironically, I guess. Look at that. Oh, it's got a crack in it. So that there is where I was just working. That's my tripod. And yeah, I don't think it really needs to be pointed out at this stage, but step one of one of the biggest projects I've ever taken on has not really gone according to plan. I mean, at least it's made it easy to get these off. What am I even doing? I will be the first to admit that it was pretty dumb to keep working under a structure I knew was getting progressively more and more unstable. It's just this relentless rain kept driving me under there, even though I knew it was starting to become a bit unsafe. In hindsight, I should have ceased this project as soon as the rain settled in, but I had this vision of finishing it all with it all cleared and the shed site ready for phase 2. But the fact is, in life, things often don't go according to plan, and I can't battle the weather gods. Despite coming up against some hurdles, there is no denying we have still made progress towards that dream shed, and never forget, the sun will shine again. I will see you all in the next one where we do a far more weather appropriate task on the property here. In the meantime, please be safe, please be kind to yourself, and please be kind to one another. Bye guys, and for the safety of everyone here, it's time to rip this bad boy down once and for good. Still satisfying at least.